G'day and welcome to the Larry Lakers Dribbling Chit Chat Show. It's official. The USA have had a close loss to Germany. Is that good for the global game? That's controversial because right now they're copping it from all quarters, all sorts of criticism of the coaching. There wasn't enough rebounding. There weren't enough international stars. They don't start well enough. They don't understand the rules of FIBA. FIBA rules are no good for professional players. They can't adjust. It seems unfair. There's dodgy calls, all sorts of criticism going on now, but I'm not sure it's warranted. There's a couple of great things to look at. One, for Lakers fans, Lakers Austin Reaves, he stood out. He shone in a team that was under pressure when it was pressure time. This young team stood up as well. They're only a young team. There's a lot of criticism that the other countries bring the same players or similar players each time and they're able to build up some experience together. But I still think a lot of that criticism's unfair. And one thing I did want, though, more of Bad Boy Bobby Portis. More Bobby Portis was needed. We'll tell you why in just a moment. Please like, subscribe. If you enjoyed the podcast or the YouTube, please get onto those and share and comment. We'd love to get your comments because the Larry Lakers, it's based basically on the questions the people that are watching ask. So, the Larry Lakers, Germany 113, USA 111. Is it a disaster? Have a look here. We've got our man, Austin Reaves, very downtrodden, poor old Austin, but I thought he had a really, really good game. Lakers fans can be excited about what was seen here, and Lakers fans can also have a little bit of confidence or feeling or share a little bit of reward for Dennis Schroeder, Mo Wagner, Isaac Bonga, all with a connection to the Lakers in the past, particularly the very recent past, Dennis Schroeder. So here they are, all downtrodden, the poor old USA, much criticised after their loss, the slow starts, lack of superstars. Was it fair or unfair? I think it was pretty good that this USA team took such a young team and was so competitive. They were probably favourites, slight favourites though. This team, the fact that it was beatable, made this a better competition, and you had to have very close to your perfect game to beat them. Austin Reaves, let's talk about him for the Lakers fans. 21 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a plus-minus over the whole game of 4. When it came down to crunch time, Austin Reaves really looked good. When they were making a comeback run, the USA bench was very good, and Austin Reaves, a big part of that. And of course, also pictured Mo Wagner, who also was drafted by the Lakers, undrafted, but making his way through as an undrafted player with the Lakers, Austin Reaves. So, was more Bobby Portis required? Is that something from Mo from Memphis? He's watched the game and he thought, hello, this guy's been dudded, taken a little bit of his time off. Could the coaching staff have put on more Bobby Portis? You don't hear much in the way of requests for Bobby Portis. You hear more for superstars and flash players. But I had a look at the game myself, Mo, once you raised that question. I think, Mo, that Bobby Portis, yes, I'd like a little bit more of the mad bulldog, the Bobby Portis. Look at these crazy eyes. Bobby Portis, let's get him on for some more in the bronze medal game. Okay, let's have a little look at the breakdown. Am I crazy that it was closer? Well, the score's closer. Everyone's carrying on that they were smashed on the rebounds. It wasn't as big as you think, but second chance points was big. Let's have a look. Steals is pretty close. Assists. The Germans, they assisted on a few more. Fantastic. But at 25, still pretty good for the USA. Turnovers is pretty close together. Blocks, the USA, slightly ahead, of course, there. Fouls, it's actually all the complaints, the refereeing. Look, at the fouls actually went against the Germans a little more than the USA there. So let's have a look. Turnovers, 15-13. Fast break points. That is not what it looked like to the eye. A lot of points in the game. You thought, wow, these bump ahead, pass ahead, fast breaks from Germany were starting to hurt. You would be surprised, but they seem to get some very easy or very quick points. The USA looked like pressing, and they seem to break the press reasonably easily. And you think, wow, we better call off this pressing defence, Coach Kerr. But 20-28, the stats say the USA were better, but I thought there were some crucial points where Germany, or in terms of parts of the game, where Germany got fast break points, second chance points. This is where the criticism's probably bang on with the stats. 25-8, but the rebounding, much criticised prior to the game. It's a little closer than you think. Points in the paint, yes, bigger and stronger. So this is what they're saying. Why isn't the US picking bigger centres? But are they there to start with, the big US centres? A lot of the US centres, the stars of the NBA, happen to be international players. It'll be interesting to see what happens for the Olympics in terms of what they go with and who accepts representation for the USA, particularly with players like Embiid. He's eligible to play for France. What will he do? Some of these players are fatigued at the end of the season and many don't play. So credit to anyone who turned up, both for the USA and for all of these international teams where some of the stars step up every time they're asked for their country. Great job. Points from the bench, something we just mentioned previously, 39. That's where Austin Reaves part of that 39 from the bench. And Bobby Portis. We need more madman Bobby, bad boy Bobby. The biggest lead. For a little while there, of course, the USA came back in that second quarter and led. And 5 was their biggest lead. 12 was the biggest lead for Germany. The biggest scoring run, pretty even again, 9-9, 9-0 and a 9-0 run. 9 lead changes. I think this is what we're talking about. This USA team added to the quality of this World Cup. 9 lead changes. This was a high quality game. Tied 11 times. But Germany, to their credit, hopped out and held the lead, particularly through that second stanza, really, really well, and didn't panic, which a lot of people would. And that's what's been happening. The US have been tightening up the defence, and it looked like things were going to get a little bit tight there for Germany. But if you go back and have a quick look at the game, you'll be impressed with the way both teams played down the quarter, but how this German team resisted the final push from the USA. They were pretty close, but they just held on, and some really key moments. We'll look at that soon. Isaac Bonga, the former Laker connection there. Jalen Brunson, a strong guard, but didn't quite have the effectiveness in his scoring. Normally, he can have pretty close to perfect shooting. Works his way into the edge of the key. Very physically strong to hold off any other defenders. But have a look at this. This represented the night there. It was a tough night for Jalen Brunson in terms of shooting efficiency. Here we go, having a look at the game here. Mad Bobby, we need more of him, that's for sure. Let's have a look at this rebounding. It isn't as startling as everyone's saying, but the second chance scoring opportunities were, but 30-28. Here's a little bit of difference here, the 5 offensive rebounds. Again, though, not massive, but enough to upset fans of the USA, saying, go and get the big centres. We have asked on some of our previous shows, why aren't we getting some more Walker Kessler? And that would have been interesting. But I think he needed to get minutes leading up to this rather than just trying to throw him in. So the coach decided not to play him. Defensive rebounding, pretty close there. Have a look, 28-30 by the time it totals up, in that the USA actually out-rebounded them in terms of defensive rebounds, or outscored them anyway in that category. Have a look at this game, how the Gap got away here and they held on. They broke out again there in that fourth quarter, did Germany, but the comeback from the USA, where there's a little flat spot here, and that was just the moment you thought, as they've done in the warm-up game against Germany, this is almost exactly what happened, where they led, and I think the USA felt confident from that game that they could come in and push their way through and things would tighten up for Germany. But they didn't. They held out there. Go and have a look at the game, as we said. Free throws, it's actually Germany that were down compared to the US. And the three-point percentage, it looked like Franz Wagner was hitting and Orbs was hitting threes whenever they needed to get a big three. But you'd think, wow, that's a better percentage. It was actually a bit better and a very healthy percentage. Anything from 40 up's great. 48 for the USA and 43 for Germany. But the points at which they hit those threes, both Franz Wagner, a couple of times it was at Dennis Schroeder, the former Laker, that was smashing our own Laker in the form of Austin Reaves. Let's have a look at it as a breakdown and see if what we're saying rings true across the entire sheet. Thanks for staying with us. There are some stars down here as pictured. All of them had interesting games. Let's have a look. Our man Austin Reaves from the Lakers got good minutes there. One of the people the coach is relying on. And some people have said if he had more, they got him on a little bit earlier in that fourth quarter. He sat down for a little while. And we did see the scoring of the bench well and truly outscored the German bench. He good field goal percentage, very good three-point percentage, 3 of 5, and he hit a couple, one to get him started on the comeback run there where they ended up taking a lead in the first half, second quarter, and then he scored a couple of big ones down the stretch there in crunch time for the USA when you thought they were going to put the squeeze on Germany. And how good was he? One rattled in, but it was an absolute crucial time. The Lakers need this. How many times in the recent years have the Lakers had bad free throw percentages? Austin Reaves, it looks like we've got someone at last who can step up. Have a look at his plus minus. There's 4. -6 for Jaren Jackson. Good on the free throw line, but only 3 rebounds. That's one of the things he's been criticised for, being a big player but not getting those rebounds. Leading defensive player in the entire NBA, and some Lakers fan said, why wasn't it Anthony Davis? Well, there you go. Wasn't that great a night for Jaren Jackson? He wasn't as bad as people think in some regards there. His percentage there was pretty good on the free throw line. It'd be good to see him get a few three-pointers up. He can hit a 3, and it does stretch the floor for the US, and I think that's one of the things Coach Kerr likes to do, but didn't happen in this game. Josh Hart, who was brought in for his spark and his rebounding, smaller than, of course, the centres, but one of their leading rebounders. Have a look at this, the leader with 5. Jalen Brunson, the percentages just weren't there. 3 of 8 from the 2-point land. Hits 100% there, but it's just the one, and hit 100% of his free throws. Tough under pressure. Anthony Edwards, again, a guy willing to take a few shots. Have a look at this. 2 from 8. He's a willing shooter, this young man. And 8 of 9, though, he made up for it in his 2-pointers, particularly when he flashes in. As we said, we've called him the baby LeBron of this game in our analysis a few times. And he did slash in for a beautiful dunk there. When you're going in for those dunks, I think your shot percentage probably going to get close to 8 or 9 there. Bobby Portis, the man we wanted to get more of. Was it justified? Are we crazy? Let's have a look. His real plus minus is only 0. So you're saying, Tony, are you crazy? Well, it's better than -6 for our other centre. -6, -6 for our centre, -6 for our small forward. But our backups weren't that great either. So 0 there. Banchero, he's probably criticised a little unfairly. We'll have a look at him in a minute. But Bobby Portis, he deserved more than 8 minutes 42. He got 5 points, but of course he's hit 100% from three-pointer. Let's have another 3-point attempt at least, please, Bobby. And he's hit 100% from 2-pointers. We need the man. That's only 2 shots, 5. The man hasn't missed a shot, and he doesn't get back on the court. What's going on there? You'd like to get back on if you're having a game where you haven't missed a shot, surely. And Paulo Banchero, 17 minutes, much criticised, probably needs a few more rebounds, but he was on in some of those runs for the USA, and he had a real plus of 6. So a little better game than people think there. Probably needs to produce a few more points than 6, though. The 1 of 4 from 2-point line, not that efficient. That hurts a little bit there. Halliburton, he's always great on the assists. Have a look up here. 8. Every time we've done one of these shows, we have a sneaky look in this column. 8, a little down in the points, but the efficiency again. A couple of people you could rely on for efficiency, particularly people like Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton. Wasn't there. Mikal Bridges, very efficient though, but unfortunately on at the times where it's ended up being a -8 overall in the real plus minus. So interesting sort of mix there for the US team. Not quite what you thought from the stories you're hearing perhaps in the headlines. So go and have a look at the game and then have another look at these stats if you get the chance. Here we go. We better have a look at Germany. So this man, Andreas Obst, what a operator he is. Have a look at his shot percentage there. 4 of 8, so 50% under a pressure. And they were on him once he'd hit a couple. They had full sort of face guard on this guy. They put some of their best defenders on him, and he worked and worked to get his points. When he did drop off a little bit in the 3-point percentage, but 50% under full US pressure, and he had their best plus minus there, along with this man who deserves more time. He's down here, their big man. Why isn't he on more often? Here he is, Johann Voigtmann. Now Voigtmann, look at his percentages here. He's got the 75% from the field. He can hit a 3, but he didn't take one in this game. 7 rebounds to lead here with Daniel Tice on 7. Daniel Tice, these two, that's why I've got him in here. They were important players, yet Tice often criticised or offered in, sort of talked about in trade packages for, a small amount and not much value in the NBA, but he has been playing really, really well. He's only got over here, I believe, 1 block, but he looked like it was a beautiful block, and he looked like he was a threat to block a lot more than that one. So plays really well for Germany. Daniel Tice, get him on. Franz Wagner, this was a surprise. This is where maybe the real plus minus doesn't tell you the same as the eye test. Watch the game and have a look at the key moments where Franz Wagner in this game and in some of the ones where he came back from the ankle injury helped get Germany into this position. He's become a real playmaking option for them, particularly in one of the games there where the former Laker Dennis Schroeder was struggling on form and really wasn't hitting many points. Every time Franz Wagner, who was coming back from an ankle injury, looked a bit tired, he could really generate playmaking rather than just see Dennis Schroeder hold the ball and just dribble, and then take the shot. A couple of the commentators said, we hope they don't do that next time down the court. They did it and got to mid-range, but he got it in. That was the difference tonight. A couple of times down in crunch time, Dennis Schroeder, just when they said, we hope we don't see ISO ball from Dennis Schroeder, he did it, but tonight he got away with it. Well done. Isaac Bonga, more minutes than you sort of thought he would be playing from what you see in the NBA, but again, loves to play there. So these guys, full credit to them. And Mo Wagner, of course, drafted by the Lakers. Now, this man, the Dazzler at the Duke, comes up with a great question. Is this USA loss actually good for the global game? Ooh. Dazzler, once you asked me that question, I thought that's going to be an important part of this podcast. The USA loss, I think yes. Dazzler, yes. Get the critics to back off a little bit from Coach Kerr and the coaching staff and the team. It was a little unbalanced. I would have liked one sort of old-fashioned big centre. We talked about it on this very YouTube and podcast. We would have liked to get some minutes on for Walker Kessler and get him going if he's your big centre to stand against the Nikola Jokic type, the big Serbian centres, the big Jonas Valanciunas, who was supposed to stand and hold up against those sort of players, the Steve Adams types. But the US just went with the young second-year player and then didn't really develop him a lot through the time. It's not a lot of time to develop a player. Anyone who says, they could have developed him, they could have given him some minutes to see what he might offer. but pretty hard. You've only got sort of 2 weeks before this 3-week event's on, so probably 10 days of warm-up games, and then this is all over in 15 or so days. So, but is this loss good for the global game? I think so, Daryl, that it was a good team in that they were young, they were athletic. A couple of them might fringe all-stars. There's probably a superstar there. It wasn't a whole lot of superstars who didn't know how to play with each other, because on their team they're all superstars. I think Brandon Ingram probably couldn't find his fit exactly, because he's a star, a 1 or a 2 in terms of the go-to guy on his team. But you've got guys like Hart who know how to make up a role on a team. You've got guys like Halliburton, but they're sort of first-year all-star guys, some of these guys. You've got guys like Reaves who can play a team part. And then you had guys like Anthony Edwards, who are used to being the main man on their team and doing a stack of scoring when needed. So I think the team was better than people say, but as well as that, the sportsmanship shown by them today in the loss. They had Jalen Brunson and Coach Kerr up there for the media conference, and they were great. They were gracious in defeat, and it wasn't by much. This could easily have been a US win. They were coming home, and maybe they just needed to ring us up and put on more Mad Bobby Portis and more Austin Reaves. But it was a better game than people. This was no destruction game. This was no loss by 20, no blowout. This was just a good, close game. And the fact they put forward a team, the USA, that could potentially lose. They were a very, very, very good team, one of the top 2 probably in the competition, top 2 or 4. And the fact they were possible losers at any stage, if you had to play your perfect game, made this a more intriguing World Cup. The fact that, hey, the great USA could actually loss, but to beat them you had to play pretty close to your perfect game, and that's to get sort of a 1 or 2 point win. So I think this team has been good. They've been very good and very popular in the Philippines. The crowds go berserk there. They're loving Austin Reaves, loving the Lakers, loving the NBA. I think this is a great team, and it's a young team. Good on them for putting this team together and going overseas there. They'll be better for the run. The problem is there'll be so much criticism. Will many of them get picked when it comes to this Olympics, or will it be like this superstar team like the Dream Team? All of a sudden, Steph Curry and all these super duper absolute top-notch stars are asked to come back, mega stars. But whereas some of these guys are stars and some of these guys are really close to being future all-stars, but we're talking about a team of mega stars coming back to avenge this loss in France. They've done better than other teams. Have a look at this. Going in Spain with a number 1 team. Where are they? Hey, the USA, they've gone better than Spain. Where's France? They're gone. Slovenia, gone. But Luka really did a good job carrying that team. But some of these big, fancy teams, they're not there. The USA went pretty close. It was a narrow loss. And the fact they sent a team that could, if you were perfect, have a loss made it a bit like Spider-Man. It's the human side of these sort of superheroes, where the frailty, where these movies become interesting. And this just made it that much more interesting, that this was a star team, but that just that fragility that they could potentially lose, unlikely, but you could possibly lose. That made it, the human side of it, all that more interesting, I think, Daryl. Dazzler, thanks for your question at the Duke. I think that's a John Wayne reference there. Now, let's have a look at the Larry Lakers dribbling chit-chat for what's coming up. What a great game there. More pictures from this sort of second chance opportunities where they led very well against the USA. Of course, you've got Daniel Tice there, and what a great game he had compared to his rating in the NBA. Against all NBA players, a lot of them drafted higher than he ever was. I think he's a little underestimated in the NBA. Now, has a young USA team helped the world? Look, more evidence that they have. What about these stars emerging, young stars again, for these other countries? Serbia, Bojan Bogdanovic. what a game he had the other night in the semi-final to get in here. He absolutely played brilliantly against Canada. And Franz Wagner emerging as a superstar. The USA has helped make this a better competition, sending a young team, and it's so exciting to have these young stars emerging. Well, that's my opinion. There'll be plenty of critics out there, but I'm really glad to have that question asked. Thank you, Dazzler, and to have the chance to discuss it on this show. Well, that brings us to the question, and it's a good one, of what is happening next. Is it like the USA's out, so the whole thing's over? Well, this World Cup is really worth watching right through to the finish. The USA now play for the bronze tomorrow against Canada. So that's two teams that are the opposite of some of the criticism here, that the USA, they don't get veteran players or a handful of veterans the way Lithuania and Serbia and Latvia do, that play every World Cup and get really quite used to the FIBA conditions and rules. But these two teams, young, full of NBA talent, that's on tomorrow. It'll be great to look for. And after that game, the final, the gold medal game, Germany versus Serbia, I'll be looking forward to that. And there's a few consolation games later today, early morning US time as well. Things like Italy versus Slovenia. So Luka, they'll be out to show they deserved to be in the Final Four, but how do you get 8 good teams into that final? Someone had to miss out. And Latvia versus Lithuania, they were both great. Fancy beating the USA, Lithuania did, and then not getting through their next game. So they have got something to show. A lot of these teams, the final 8 has been great, and we look forward to seeing what's on next. So in terms of what's on next, enjoy those games, and please also take the time to go over and have a look at our podcast, or have a listen and have a look at our previous YouTube. Like, subscribe. We've got things like the Lakers, the Christian Wood move. Was it a genius move? A lot of people are saying it is. All these people who are worried now, suddenly they're all saying this is the greatest move ever. Lakers are favourite for the whole title. But we questioned whether it was a genius move or an Andre Drummond-like mistake. The last time we had to wait and wait for something that was no surprise when they said Andre Drummond, if he gets waived, he'll come to the Lakers, he'll come to the Lakers. Everyone was saying the team stalled, but when he gets there, it's going to take off. A little bit of a difference this time, I guess, in that the team hasn't stalled, but similar in that it was just, when is he coming? When is he coming? When is he coming? We're waiting on Christian Wood, waiting on Christian Wood. Finally, he's here. Is it a genius move, or are there a few things we should be worried about? Christian Wood, genius move, or Andre Drummond-like mistake? Go and have a look at that YouTube. We've also got a podcast. Look us up on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the good places. Until next time, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a safe week. Enjoy the Lakers, if there's any of them left. Maybe they're just former Lakers in the World Cup. And until then, have a safe week.